I'd like to ask anyone that wants to address the board tonight to please sign in. Eric's got 3 sign-in sheets there. We've got a sign-in sheet for the 2 public hearings that we have scheduled tonight, and also for the trustees' regularly scheduled meeting. Okay, the time is 7:01. I'd like to call the Jerome Township Board of Trustees public meeting in case Z25-002 map amendment 0 Industrial Parkway Plain City 43064 being 187.81 plus or minus acre tract located on the southeast side of Industrial Parkway, CR number 1 south of Beecher Cambler Road, CR number 36, Rural Residential District to Commerce District, Fairbanks Local School District. Roll call, please.
Mr. Adler?
Present.
Ms. Davis?
Present.
Mr. Kraft?
Present.
Mr. Chairman, other members of the board, this was a case that was submitted for an rezoning of a property on Industrial Parkway. My office received a request yesterday from Mr. Duggar, attorney for the applicant, or applicant in this case, requesting the case be continued. I'm going to suggest your next, their first meeting in October, by my calculation, is October the 7th. I'm going to suggest that meeting just to allow him time. I know the board directed him to meet with the neighbors and do some other things, so I'm just going to suggest that as a time. I did tell him if it gets continued to be prepared to move forward, but that is what it is. So just would suggest the board continue to time, date, place, or
October 7th. Do we have a full board on October 7th?
I'll be here.
Yes. Okay. I move that we continue public hearing case Z25-002 to the trustees October 7th meeting Tuesday here at the Township Hall
Second.
at 7 p.m. Roll call, please.
Mr. Adler?
Yes.
Ms. Davis?
Yes.
Mr. Kraft?
Yes. Hearing continued. Right, the time is 7:04. I'd like to call to order Jerome Township Board of Trustees public hearing case PD 25-001, Kunzelman property, Jolon map amendment, 9317-9351 Brock Road, Plain City, Ohio, 43064 being 26.36 plus or minus acre tract located on the south side of Brock Road, County Road number 16, east of Ridge Road, Rural Residential District, RU to Planned Development District, PD, Dublin School District. Roll call, please.
Mr. Adler?
Present.
Ms. Davis?
Present.
Mr. Kraft?
Present.
Mr. Chairman, other trustees, this case was continued to tonight from 2 other sessions of the same public hearing. And the request is to rezone an approximately 23.36 acre parcel located on the south side of Brock Road. The recommendation of LEC Regional Planning Commission was that the amendment be denied. The recommendation of your Township Zoning Commission was that the amendment be denied. I have not had any other further discussion or communication from the applicant since the last session of the hearing. If the board would allow me to just just make a couple suggestions. Counselor Briggs, you can stop me if there's any, need to. I'm just gonna suggest, given that some of the hearing, some of the information being presented before the board at this third session of this hearing is starting to become kind of repetitive, I'm gonna suggest that the board give the applicant one more opportunity to say anything else they would like to say on behalf of their application. That the board give the public a reasonable amount of time each to speak on this particular case, not related to other things, but just to this case. And then at that point, the board either render a decision or close the public hearing. Mr. Briggs can give you the permutation of what authorities the board has at that point. But again, it's your decision, but I can just, from sitting through the hearings, it seems like the same things are being said over and over again. So I'm just going to suggest the board either render a decision or close the hearing. If you do choose to close the hearing, you would render a decision at your next regular meeting. So with that, I'd be happy to answer any other questions about the case. Other than that, I'll just turn things back over to Mr. Kraft.
Thank you, Eric.
Sir.
So I think at our last hearing, Trustee Adler had some holdbacks about phase 2 being a wooded area with the lots, and we were also talking about ways to maybe protect the neighbors so they wouldn't have to see much of this. And I think it was suggested by Trustee Davis that we continue the hearing to allow time for those things to be put in place. And I think there was some concern you had, if the applicant didn't want to accept the board's maybe compromise or recommendation on how to protect the neighbors, you really wanted to hear what they had to say about that. Is that?
Right, I think public comment is important, so.
You can give the applicant.
Yep.
If that's the
So if the applicant would like to address the board. Okay.
Public comment.
Right, we've got a couple people that have signed up for public comment. Tracy, I can't read your last name.
Timlin.
Thank you, Tracy. If you could please step up to the podium and state your name and address for the record.
My name is Tracy Timlin. I'm at 9307 Brock Road. What is the definition of a narcissist? Someone who has an inflated sense of their own importance and lacks empathy for others. They often come across as arrogant, self-centered, and manipulative, prioritizing their own needs above all else. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for coming together to discuss the future of our neighborhood. We're here because one of our neighbors is pushing to rezone their property to build multiple houses, a plan that would drastically change the character and quality of our community. I want to share why this proposal concerns me, and I will be brief. And I believe many of you will too, and we need to approach this thoughtfully. Our neighborhood is a place where we value connection, respect, and shared responsibility. It is a community where we look out for each other, maintain our properties, and follow the rules that keep this area peaceful and livable. In actuality, we aren't a community. We aren't even a neighborhood. We're a family. But this rezoning feels like it's coming from a different mindset, one that prioritizes personal gain over the well-being of our families. The individual behind this plan has made it clear through their actions and words that they believe they're above the rest of us. They act as if their vision, their intelligence, and their influence give them the right to reshape our neighborhood without regard for its impact on all of us, our children and grandchildren. Let's talk about that impact. Adding multiple houses on a single lot could strain our infrastructure. Think increased traffic, pressure on utilities, and potential declines in property values. Our streets weren't built for this density, and our community's charm lies in its open spaces and quiet atmosphere. This proposal risks turning our neighborhood into something we didn't sign up for, a crowded, chaotic mess that benefits one person at the expense of many. I've seen this neighbor dismiss concern from others, acting as if their plans are inherently superior and our worries are irrelevant. That kind of attitude, where one person's believe they know better than the rest of us, doesn't just threaten our neighborhood's physical landscape. It erodes the trust and cooperation that makes this place special. When one person's actions threaten the peace and stability of our neighborhood, we have a right and a duty to speak up. Let's protect the community we love, not just for ourselves, but for everyone who calls this place home. Thank you.
Thank you. Anthony Horn.
Anthony Warren, 9315 Rock Road, Pine City. Pretty much what you said. What he's trying to do is not consistent with what's going on or how the area looks over there. Last week he spoke about good neighbors. Good neighbors wouldn't be doing what he's trying to do. And he hasn't reached out to any of us. He has also not reached out to Eric like you would think he would if he wants us to go through. So I'd like for you guys to take that into consideration.
Thank you.
Joe, may I speak since the neighbors have spoken?
I have one more person signed up
Oh,
for
yeah,
public.
no problem.
Ryan
Yes, Captain?
Duffett.
Yep.
Ryan Duffett.
Good evening. I agree largely with what's been said. The only thing I would add is we're already in the middle of a big development right across the street from us, which Kunzelman's fought the entire time because it was bad for the watershed, it was bad for the community, it was bad for the traffic. I still believe all that to be true. We still have a ton of traffic on Brock Road. There was never a right turn lane, which I knew the developer was talking about putting in originally when you come Brock Road to Industrial Parkway. There's a turn lane that was going to be put there to help relieve traffic. There was going to be a turn lane and improvements up here. Yes, there have been some signal changes. Traffic is still really heavy. And this place isn't even built out yet. The original parcel's not even built out yet. So by the time we get another, what's the whole area, 258 houses, 248 houses?
Approximately.
Yeah, they were about a quarter of the way through. So we haven't even felt the impact of that development. And now we're talking about additional development. And I just feel like he was really against that development to begin with. And now he wants to add that problem to our problem again and leave. So that's why I'm against it. I'm not against, my father was a developer. We know development is going to happen. My request is that happen in a controlled fashion and that it takes into account the people who have to live here while it's happening. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Chair, there was a couple of residents that walked in. I don't know if there's any other public comment or not.
Okay. Did anyone else besides the applicant want to address the board who was late? Okay.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
respond or not?
Oh, she's.
No.
I just wanted to express a few additional comments that I've got regarding this. I did go through the basis of approval. When I looked down the list, there's about 13 items. I could only find 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of these as being okay. Several were marginally adverse, and then there were a couple that were significantly adverse in my mind. And especially, I mentioned before, the woodlands, but it's come to my attention since I've had a little more time to review this. They're going to be filling in approximately 3 acres of the lake, and that results in up to 11 lots that are either partially or completely over the lake fill, or the soil fill that goes into filling that lake. I didn't see in anything in the application any letter from either the U.S. Corps of Army Engineers or Soil Conservation Service. This is in the Big Darby Creek watershed area too, so that's a concern that I have about the adverse effects. Eric, I had another follow-up question about the regulation text. You'd indicated in your staff letter that a bunch of changes needed to have been made. Were those changes completed?
There was a version dated July 1st of this year that was a modification of that text from what was originally submitted. However, that has not incorporated into the case because of the fact that the zoning commission's recommendation was for denial, but I do have such a version. If the board ultimately determined to approve
concern recently came to my attention, and I mentioned it to you, but I have not had a response back regarding a search of the title deeds indicating a restriction on lots that were less than 5 acres. I'm not sure if that applies in this case because there's one of the lots is 2.5 acres. So,
Mr. Adler, I really appreciate you bringing that to my attention. I did research that because you asked me. The reason that I did not follow up with you specifically about it is, one, because I knew that we would have to hear it tonight, and secondly, because I was able to have a conversation with Mr. Griggs, who basically said, hey, if it's a private restriction, the township's not a party, it's not a concern that township officials should incorporate into their decision-making process. So I certainly understand that that's out there, but that's up to the folks that are a party to those private deed restrictions to enforce through the means that are provided by law. I'm not saying anything in Borough Council. So I did research it because you asked me. I apologize I didn't get you an answer, but I wanted Pete to be around to give you that answer.
thank you. These are basically all my comments.
Yep, so I would just like to say, as far as the filling in of the pond and whether that would provide an adequate lot, and that be kind of more of a feasibility thing, we're here to talk about zoning. You know,
Well, we're also
density,
talking about
density.
adverse impacts, so that potential adverse impact on the environment.
Um, I don't see this as much different than Scott's Farm that's right next door there. Similar density. I'd like to protect the neighbors. I've said that at each meeting, to make sure, you know, trees aren't removed that are existing there, and that maybe there be some type of opacity. You know, I don't know what percentage of opacity that you guys are talking about, but those things would be important to me. You kind of told me previously, Barry, that you weren't in favor of this, and it kind of seemed like Muslim was on the fence. I didn't want to put her in the middle here, but there'd be.
The question is it, if the question was, is it similar? Yes, it is similar. It's not dissimilar to what that development is. I would just go back and say, you know, the board was wrestling with some additional modifications for this case, and the question I think the board has to wrestle with, Pete, stop me if I'm wrong here, is simply whether the board wants to act upon what has been duly presented, or whether the board wants to apply further modifications that the applicant is not requesting. And at the end of the day, or deny the case. Ultimately, this is what's in front of you now. We did workshop that. The applicant isn't agreeing to that. So at the end of the day, what's before you is what's before you. I'm not saying there's anything wrong here, Pete.
After thorough review of the LUC feedback and recommendation and our zoning commission recommendation, and taking into consideration my colleagues' comments regarding adverse impacts and the Darby, I have landed on that I do not feel comfortable with approving this project.
I would move to approve the zoning commission.
There's a resolution, actually Eric and I have prepared multiple resolutions. I think it's in the will of the board, at least the majority of the board.
Mr. Griggs, Mr. Kraft, as the chair, does have a copy of the motion that I think Mr. Adler is trying to make. If that's something that Barry would rather make himself, he can simply pass that copy down. The only reason I didn't make 4 copies is sometimes it's just too confusing. So if that's the will of the board, then that's the resolution.
So you're gonna go down to,
Okay. Point of clarification. Last time, we were told that we would have to vote to approve the zoning commission's recommendation, but this says we're denying.
Correct.
Okay.
So the motion.
Is this the correct motion?
yes. So what you wanna, the motion that you wanna make is a motion to approve the recommendation of the Jerome Township Zoning Commission.
That's my fault. Barry, do you see on the first line there where it says to deny, that should say to approve. We'll correct the original if you just make the motion verbally. That's my fault. That's not even Councilman
what you were
phrase.
saying in the beginning.
But the rest is, the motion is I move that, and then that sentence there, is that correct, Mr. Director?
Okay, I see. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, I see where you're pointing.
No, so this is what's correct. The recommendation of the zoning commission was to deny the text amendment. So this board could either approve the zoning commission's recommendation, modify that recommendation, or deny the recommendation. So since you have a denial, you want to approve their recommendation. You are agreeing with the recommendation of the zoning commission to deny.
So is that correct as written?
That is correct. So you want to make a motion to approve the recommendation of the
Got it.
Jerome Township zoning commission to deny the proposed amendment.
Got it.
That makes
So I
sense?
did do it, you did do it, thank you.
Well, you just didn't put approve in there.
Right, sorry.
Okay. I move that we approve the recommendation of the Jerome Township Zoning Commission to deny this proposed amendment to the official zoning map, be and hereby is adopted by the board, thereby denying the amendment.
Second.
Roll call.
Mr. Adler?
Yes.
Ms. Davis?
Yes.
Mr. Kraft?
No.
Mr. Caldwell, there's an original of that resolution, I think in the green folder, we could kind of just have folks sign it and just note that there's two different signature blocks depending on how the vote, how a particular trustee votes, so just be cognizant of that. And so as a matter of law, the hearing is closed, correct?
Correct.
Hearing's done. I understand.
Over
I
in
understand what
Glacier
you're thinking
Point or
of.
whatever, they took a bunch of vehicles out. I would rather stay with it.
I was against the homestead.
I mean, if I got into debating, I wanted to have something to do, that's all. Okay. The time is 7:26. I'd like to call to order this Jerome Township Board of Trustees regular meeting, September 3rd, 2025. Roll call, please.
Mr. Adler?
Present?
Ms. Davis? Mr. Kraft?
Present. We could all rise for the pledge. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, has everybody had time to review the agenda? Are there any changes that you'd like to make or adjustments? No? I move that we accept the agenda as written.
Second.
Roll call.
Mr. Adler?
Yes.
Ms. Davis?
Yes.
Mr. Kraft?
Yes. All right, Robert.
I have no minutes for your approval tonight. First item up is approval of the warrants per your pending warrant report. They are warrants 45888 through 45917, which was the credit card payment, which was on a separate sheet that you don't have, and warrants 95129 through 95136.
Move that we approve the warrants.
Second.
Roll call.
Mr. Adler?
Yes.
Ms. Davis?
Yes.
Mr. Kraft?
Yes.
The second item I have is, we received in the mail the legal invoice for the month of July, which brings our general fund original appropriation, or purchase order amount down to zero, and for, from the zoning fund for $4,900. So I would recommend that we approve an additional purchase order in the amount of $20,000 from the zoning fund and another $7,500 from the general fund. A lot of the general fund money was in involved with the construction of the road building and the bid process and all of that.
Question, is the budget sufficient to cover those?
Yes.
I move that we make those allocations.
Second.
Roll call.
Mr. Eckler?
Yes.
Davis?
Yes.
Mr. Kraft?
Yes.
It's all three passed.
Thank you, Robert. Public participation, we do not have anyone signed up. Public safety officer, I do not see we have public safety officer here. I don't think we have anything for exec session. I don't have anything in the folder here. All right, Brandon. Thank you. It's all yours.
Thank you. Wait, no
Oh, go ahead.
executive session.
Is that-
Do we need an executive session? Discussion of a, forget how to term this, compensation. Is that necessary this evening or not? We made progress to go into executive session.
Okay.
Have we made progress to go into executive session?
Yeah.
I thought we did. Do you have that terminology on you?
Yeah, when you want to make a motion to move into executive session pursuant to Ohio Revised Code 12122 G1 for purposes of discussing compensation of a public employee.
So moved.
Second. Roll call.
Mr. Eckler?
Yes.
Ms. Davis?
Yes.
Mr. Kraft?
Yes, the time is 7:31.
Thanks, Gary.
All right, time is 7:58. I'd like to move that we adjourn executive session.
Second?
Roll call.
Mr. Adler?
Yes.
Ms. Davis?
Yes.
Mr. Kraft?
Yes. Okay, Brandon. Now it's yours. Now it's yours.
All
Now-
right, thank you. You should have the road department report in front of you. I did want to update you that, we did take possession of the new side-by-side today. And Vince, showed it to me. I think it's gonna be exactly what we want. The plow blade has not been delivered yet, but, that should be coming in within the next few weeks, I'm told. Still, on the road department building itself, they are waiting on a couple of permits to get approved there, but, they should be moving forward with drywall here soon. I mean, the building is moving up still fast. Other than that, do you have any questions on the road department at all?
Go ahead and have a go.
Yes.
This.
Yeah, so, Vince turned in a, requisition today for the road department building from a company called Enzo's out of Sandusky, Ohio, it's ENZO, for the hot water pressure washer for the wash bay, which was an anticipated expense. The quote here is $21,933.10. So I asked that that be approved. We have, I believe that's all still covered in the budget.
I move that we approve that.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Adler?
Yes.
Ms. Davis?
Yes.
Mr. Kraft?
Yes.
And that is my report for that. Chief, you can go next.
Good evening. You have your stats from August in front of you. It's a 26% increase for the same time as last year. So obviously we're staying very busy. As you heard last night at the tanker dedication, thank you all for coming. It was fantastic. Should have stuck around for cake. I heard it was pretty good, but I stayed away. But great relationship with Mill Creek on the tanker. But as you heard, our crews spent nearly 500 hours training to get that truck in service. It is in service today. Hasn't taken a run yet. As Trustee Conroy said, hopefully we never need it, but we know the reality of it is that we will at some point. But what a wonderful addition to our fleet. And what a great relationship we have. Getting that tanker for us. So thank you all for coming last night. Appreciate that, and it was great to have all 6 trustees there and represent our township in there as well. Ariel, they mounted the cab on the chassis last week, so that at some point is going to be moved. That's in the Urbanist line right now. At some point, it's going to get moved to the Dublin line. Andy is going to give me an update by the end of the week as to when anticipate delivery. I would assume, just based on initial conversations, that there might be a delay. So it may be pushed into December, maybe into January. So we're still trying to figure that out. It will still not go into service until early spring, I would say March, April. By the time we get equipment mounted, get everybody trained on it, and go from there. So still more to come. As soon as I hear back from Andy, I will let you know. Personnel, Brandon, you have that resolution? Okay. We had Lieutenant Bebout. You all saw him last night. He took a job in Florida. So he is on vacation with his family, and then he's going to start work down in Florida. So he did resign from the department. We can do it now because he's still on payroll until the first week of October. So we could actually do it at a later meeting if we had to, but accept his resignation and go from there. So
Do you have the resignation? Okay.
Or is it just so
Yeah.
moved?
Well, next meeting. Next meeting. Next meeting.
with that, we had a part-time candidate that we were able to move up to full-time. He's in his physical process right now. And then we have several applicants to fill the part-time role. So I would hope by the end of October, we are at 100% staffing, which is great. I should say 100% of the allotted staffing, not where we need to be, but 100% of the allotted staffing. And I will keep you posted on personnel as we
So
go.
the part-timer that got moved up, does that person have their paramedic card or blue card? Or how's that work?
He's in school for paramedic. He graduates in March.
Okay. Could you explain to the rest of the board, like, they have so long to get that?
Yes. So since the pool of candidates that are already paramedics is really next to nothing, they're getting picked up right away by the departments. So what we've done is we give them 60 days from the day they graduate from school to get the paramedic certification. But that has to coincide, has to be completed within a year of their appointment. So it does not extend beyond the probationary period. If for some reason classes get delayed and whatnot, we extend their probationary period out to coincide when they would get their certification. And then that way we're supporting them when they're in class, but then we have a good student that's focused on medic, and that's their sole function for the first year of their life anyway, if they're not already a paramedic. So 2 of our part-timers that we've hired are paramedics. They're still in the process right now, so they're good candidates for full-time later on.
Was there a reason you selected the one?
Yeah, I mean, if you had 6 part-timers to pick from, do they interview for that position? Is that what you
So
do?
they had interviewed originally for part-time, and they were not through not through the entire process. The part-time candidate's been with us for a while.
Well, they hadn't been. I mean, it's not a seniority deal where, oh, you've been here the longest, you get the job.
No, we look at how long they've been here, we look at if they're in medic school, how far they're in medic school, and then you're really the fit for the department and whatnot. So the 3 part-timers, we should have them, they just got their backgrounds done, I received those back today. Their physicals are done, so now we're just setting up their start dates. And then the part-timer's ready to go. That's the nice thing, is we can put him on any shift. He's already been through his probationary packet. He can function on any of the 3 shifts, whereas the 3 new guys that we're hiring, we have to train them and give them about 6 months of time before they're ready to move to the next step.
Okay.
But,
I just want to make sure the process was like fair and equitable.
yes. Obviously, road construction is ongoing. Trustee Conroy asked me last night if we had an increase in traffic accidents. We haven't seen an increase, but it just kind of fluctuates as it always does. But it's ongoing. It is a nightmare when you go up 42, and I know they're going to start working on this section of 42 by Industrial Parkway soon. We're trying to get a solid date, but they're here in the next couple of weeks. Yeah, and when we talked to ODOT a couple weeks ago, they said it was a moving target, but then we have an in with the contractor that's doing the work, and he's going to get us a solid date, because there's 2 different contractors doing different sections of that work. So once I know that for sure, it's obviously going to affect our response times. This already does, because if we go to the worst, we really have to reduce our speed, and then the crews coming south, they have to come either Brock Road or go up and come back area road and whatnot. So it does lengthen response times for the other station coming to us. So we've adjusted all of our run cards. Anything south of 33, we automatically get Pleasant Valley. Anything north of 33, we automatically get Concord coming. And then we have backups listed with Washington and Maryville and assist with that as well, just because of the delays with construction. So that will continue on for 18 to 24 months, just because of the construction. Levy, we have several different open houses scheduled. We have 2 on September 24th. We have 1 in the morning and 1 in the evening. I will send this all out, send flyers out, and get that on our Facebook and on the website. That will be held at Station 210. The other open house is at Station 211. That 1 in the morning, 1 in the evening. That allows people that are working during the day to come in the evening and vice versa. We wanted to make sure we open our doors to get them in and see the fire station, but also get an understanding on the levy. We have other person, I shouldn't say really in person, but just informal meet and greets to discuss the levy with different communities, and we're trying to target all areas of Jerome Township just for those personal conversations, people that don't want to come to the fire station, but would rather just hang out in the cul-de-sac and talk about the fire levy, ask questions, and get the answers from us. So we have a few of those scheduled. We're looking for communities to hold those. So anybody that's interested, all we're doing is just trying to put out the facts about the fire levy.
So again, September 24th at 2:10. What time in the morning and what time at night?
The morning one is 9 to 10:30.
Okay.
And the evening is 6:30 to 8. And we'll provide refreshments. And then October 15th at 2:11 from 6:30 or 9 to 10:30 and 6:30 to 8. Same time, just different station. And I'll send all that information in an email, and like I said, we'll get it on our Facebook page and website. Michelle will get it on the township's website as well.
Yeah, I was going to include it in my announcements.
Okay. Perfect. October 5th from 11 to 3, we have an open house at both stations. It's Fire Prevention Week, so that's going to be an open house just so people can learn about fire safety. We're going to try to get a car and cut up a car at Station 210. Station 211, they're going to do a children's combat challenge similar to what we do for our firefighter physical ability test. Chris Stricker and Brad Flora designed that after seeing other departments do it, and the kids love it. Actually, adults do it as well, so it's pretty cool. And we got little fire costumes for the kids, so it's really nice.
October 5th at both stations?
October 5th at both stations from 11 to 3. We're going to be busy for a couple months. And then October 19th from 12 to 3, we're going to be at Kroger for a smaller version of our Township Truck. So we want to partner with Kroger, get some departments in. So our road department's going to be there. We're going to be there. Sheriff's office. We'll probably bring Concord over, but it's not going to be as big as we typically do. But we just want to do a smaller version and start getting to the northern side of the township and start pulling from Mill Creek as well. And then we will schedule something on the 25th since it is a bye week for OSU. We don't have to compete with OSU because we know what we do. We never get anybody. So that's a bye week. But the sheriff has already taken the 25th. That's going to be our drug take-back day at Station 211. We started partnering with Sheriff's Office earlier this year for the drug take-back day. So October 25th from 10 to 2 at Station 211. It's a drive-through. They come in, any medications that you're no longer taking or a family member's passed on, they bring those up, hand them out the window, and then move on through the Sheriff's Office disposes of those medications and whatnot. And I wish Sheriff was here. They're looking for Lego donations, so anybody that has Legos laying around their house or whatnot, I'm not sure really what they do with them. Maybe at the Sheriff's Office, they have a lot of time and they just sit there and make Legos or something like that. I don't know.
I think he said they were donating it to an organization.
Yeah, I think they have little things where they have kids come in and make stuff. I'm not really sure, but you know. But anyway, they're looking for Lego donations. Sheriff's Office has that. And then the last thing I have is we partnered with the Sheriff's Office for Project Lifeline. So what this is we actually have a resident in the township that frequently walks away. And so that individual is issued I don't want to say an ankle monitor because that's really not what it is, but it is kind of like an ankle monitor or a watch, and it tracks them. And then we have an antenna and receiver in our truck. The Sheriff's Office has 4 of those, and then we can triangulate and pinpoint where that person's at and find them faster. There's a number of residents in the county that have that, but Giant Chief Zimmer went to the training. We're going to train firefighters on every shift to utilize that equipment. But that's just find a resident that's walked away, maybe has Alzheimer's or developmental disabilities that frequently walk away. So that was a nice partnership that we did with the Sheriff's Office. And, at some point, I think we're going to continue to grow that. And, the relationship with the Sheriff's Office is fantastic. Can't say enough about what he's done and everything he's doing to support us as well. So Any questions for me?
Thank you.
Thank you all.
Thank you. Be safe out there.
The final thing I have, before I turn it over to Eric, is and I don't know if I said this at the last meeting or not, I'm not sure of the calendar date, but the entire staff here was trained by our fire department, first aid and CPR, so we're all certified now, and matter of fact, our cards came through email today, so I know everybody was pretty excited to get those, and did, some of us, it was a refresher, for others, it's brand new. We did the AED, that was a part of the training as well. And as a reminder for all of us, the AED is moved into the vestibule area, and it is accessible to the public, for anyone that happens to be out here in the park or whatever. It's always right there. All you gotta do is come through the front door. The interior door is locked, of course, but, that's why it's moved out there, and, hope no one ever has to use it, but it's there.
It's a great team building activities,
Yeah,
having
it was.
everyone do the CPR training at the
It
same
was
time.
good to see, I think.
I hope we bought lunch at the end, maybe, or?
Well, we wanted, I think that was the day of our staff luncheon, I think. No,
It was Friday.
Thursday was the day of the fire, something down there. Yeah. So it was still busy time. Eric, do you have anything else?
Very briefly, our office sent out statistics through the years, putting people right on track, just as we were last year in terms of development. I've also been asked next Thursday to be a guest speaker at IPA and talk about some of the development, so I'll see some of you there if you're there. It's always enjoyable, and the firefighter, just as Mr. Stanley said, no one is job. It's great to do that again. So, be happy to answer any questions, but that's all I have.
That ends my report.
Okay, thank you. The rules and rates for the cemetery?
Yes, so previously, back in May, we had a discussion here about the columbarium project. And at that time, we discussed some rate changes that would have to be added to our cemetery fee schedule, as well as rule changes, because there was no mention of columbarium, of course, in the rules. So, I have a packet in front of you, and as you look down there, you may not remember, but we did discuss this back in May as well. This is based on a lot of conversation with Mr. Longstreth, as well. So township resident rate is $2,000, non-resident would be $3,000, and then there's a small fee for opening and closing. That change would have to be done through the Longstreth funeral home. And the reason for that is that if we start to allow different varying companies to do the engravings and etchings, we're gonna end up with a mess. And we're trying to keep this fairly organized and structured. If you flip back through into the actual rules, you'll see we added the word niche in there, or niches. That is the name of the box that each columbarium has. The one that's gonna be delivered, the foundation's in the ground already. We're just waiting on the columbarium itself to be delivered. That should happen in October. We've added anything in red in your copy, was added basically just to cover the changes. Back on page 6, we realized there were some holidays missing there that we've added. Other than that, back on page 9 really gets into the meat and potatoes, so to speak, of the columbarium itself. It just explains that only 2 urns can go in one niche. And we give the dimensions so that no one thinks that they can get a large urn and then try to tuck that in. It's gonna have to fit, or they'll have to buy a separate niche. So, other than that, it's pretty straightforward. There were some number changes then, because we added a section, so the number changes in red. page 10 and 11. That's pretty much it. Pretty straightforward. So, just asking to move these forward. We would like to start selling these and advertising to get these sold. We're not sure how many residents have called per se, but we have some on a waiting list that are ready. We just don't know if they're residents, and we want residents to have first dibs. We had discussed that briefly, by the way, as a part of this overall discussion. We really are hesitant to put a deadline on that, but we're going to give it several months before we come back to you and say, we think it's fair to open this up to non-residents. I mean, probably at least a year to allow our residents. I think once it's opened up to just anyone, it'll fill very rapidly at that point, if that makes sense.
Thank you.
Is that stated though here anywhere? It's not coming to the.
No, we're just going to tell them as they call. We're going to have to find that out as they call.
Are you ready for us to adopt the
Yes.
cemetery rules and rates?
Before you-
Robert, do you have any questions?
Do you not want to keep the opening and closing of cremations for people who are not putting them in a columbarium but are putting them in the ground?
And I think Debbie highlighted that section just because she was thinking that it would be removed as a part of the columbarium process, but I agree with you. Yeah. So we'll debate that, but I believe it should remain.
What page is that on?
On the very first fee
Page.
schedule, on the fee schedule where it's written in red, cremation, opening, closing, delete this section. That's not necessarily the case. You could still choose to be buried in a plot, in an urn.
So we're saying that we're voting on not deleting that section. Is that correct?
Correct.
You could just say as amended, since you discussed it.
I move that we approve the schedule of cemetery fees and revisions of the cemetery rules as amended per our discussion this evening.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Adler?
Yes.
Davis?
Yes.
Kraft?
Yes.
On the new business, Mr. Kraft, Debbie compiled a list there in front of you for trick or treat dates of local communities. She's proposing that Jerome Township be October 30th from 6 to 8 p.m. That's her recommendation. And I will also point out, I think I said this once before, maybe a year ago or so when this came about, it is not uncommon, by the way, for communities to do it during the daytime now. They tend to get a larger turnout, but that's entirely up to this board. I'm not advocating one way or the other. It seems like Union County tends to be in the evening.
Almost school, but not kids.
That's
With people with kids and grandkids, like.
It gets dark by 8 o'clock in October, so, I mean, I like the idea of an earlier hour, but I also like being consistent with everybody else, otherwise you can have everybody from Plain City and Dublin showing up for the first hour.
Yeah.
We like it at 6.
Yeah,
We do.
it's fine.
Okay, so,
When it gets a little dark, that's what makes it great.
Except for the littlest ones.
so I.
They're usually tuckered out 1 hour in.
So we would move to have trick or treat in the township on Thursday, October 30th, 2025, from 6 to 8.
Is there a reason we don't want to do it on the 31st on Friday?
It is one of the most popular.
Football, high school football,
Oh, high school football.
and
okay.
parties. I mean, people
Yeah,
will be
so
going to Halloween parties. and that.
There's a whole permutation with that.
And it's a
We've
little more
done a
dangerous.
survey with different communities. Basically, they always suggest that communities put it not on Friday or Saturday because it conflicts. I'm sure as a former police chief, Halloween is just your favorite day of the entire year. But anyway, that's why
Right.
they're not doing it.
Well,
Okay.
let's keep it on the 30th, Thursday the 30th.
There's a motion on the floor for that.
Second.
Roll call.
Mr. Adler?
Yes.
Ms. Davis?
Yes.
Mr. Kraft?
Yes.
Right.
Okay, there's been we've had a couple citizens come in many times to talk to the board about some things with data centers, land use that we hadn't heard of before. And then kind of at our last meeting, we were just talking about a rezoning from rural residential to comm district, and the folks wanted to talk about data center land use.
So, it's my opinion that we need to hit pause on data centers in this township, holistically speaking, due to a number of strains, and not to mention resident feedback, disturbances pertaining to sound and lighting, but also strain on power and water and our fire department. I think that we need to hit pause, and we need to really look at what the return on investment is here for our township. I don't find data centers to be the best and highest use. I don't see the return on investment with our joint economic development district bringing in those infrastructure dollars. I have concerns. I'd like to call for a moratorium. I know that we have a resolution in front of us for 6 months. I'd like to see it be longer, but this is a discussion.
Well, I agree that we need to hit the pause button. I feel that that will allow us as a township time to resolve some key concerns, develop some better performance standards with methods and procedures to measure sound levels so data centers won't adversely impact the surrounding residential community. A moratorium sounds like we don't want any data centers, and that may send the wrong message, cause data centers to look elsewhere, but I hope that we would not be the case in the event that a moratorium is adopted. I believe that data centers can be an important future source of revenue that Jerome Township needs to help to pay for rising costs of community services due to our rapid rate of residential development. We just need to work with data centers on the details of being good neighbors to surrounding communities, and we also need to work with the economic development director to figure out what the best economic returns can be to our township. There are few businesses that can offer as much in future revenue from property taxes to the township, but also have a limited impact on local traffic, schools, and roadways. Key issues, obviously, that need to be addressed so that data centers can become good neighbors, in my opinion, include noise mitigation, compliance with lighting standards, landscape buffering to preserve our rural viewscapes, construction issues to keep mud and debris off the roadways, and improve safety procedures with the contractors. Also, we need to work with, I mentioned, economic development on new details of any incentives are offered to ensure that any payment in lieu of taxes, pilot programs is what they're called, includes not only the schools and county, but also the township fire and EMS services.
And all parties that would be involved in that property tax should be included in that discussion, is what you're saying.
Yes. Whether we like it or not, there's a growing need with the use of cell phones, data processing, cloud services, and AI for more data centers. Obviously, another challenge is whether or not we can figure out how to also deal with the limited water and energy resources and continue to build any new data centers moving forward. So that's why I feel it's important that we only do a temporary versus a more permanent,
So,
to give us enough time to work out.
I'd like to, the residents that are listening, as a matter of law, a moratorium cannot be permanent. And so, I'm not a fan of data centers in our township because I'm more interested in high-paying jobs in this area. And although data centers will tell you that they bring in thousands of jobs, they're temporary. We collect income tax on the construction workers that are here during that period of time, but ultimately we are not left with permanent jobs in this area. It's very few. I would say even in the single digits.
Well,
in some
they're talking,
cases.
say on a 100-acre site, 70 to 90 total jobs.
I don't
But
think it's
economic development wise, typically they'd expect about 6 jobs per acre. So you'd be looking at 70 to 90 jobs versus 600 jobs, like if you're talking jobs.
But economically, we're not just looking at jobs, we're looking at the valuation of that property. And the recent analysis showed that if they had paid at one data center here, all of their taxes, it would have been $6.3 million over 10 years.
Well, and that's
So that's
my
where-
second point,
where I
but
think we have room to negotiate.
we were not involved in the tax abatement conversations previously, and that's another big issue and another reason to hit pause. Now, we do have our cooperative board that's set up that will review tax abatements, but I think we need to be very hard on
Would that
that
include pilot
subject.
stuff? I mean, if it's a payment in lieu of taxes, is that considered a tax abatement or not?
Is that a part of
With
the
the co-op
cooperative?
board?
Yeah, so typically, data centers can come in and negotiate through a development agreement that outlines the type of abatements, the payments that are gonna be paid. And, you know, CRA, TZ, on down the line.
And this is a part of the
So,
cooperative?
Yes, so according to our cooperative, the cooperative board, I would hope would make a recommendation. They would work on that and make a recommendation, to the township trustees to sign off on, as well as the county.
Sure.
Yeah,
So,
that's what it's designed to do.
that said, moratoriums cannot be permanent by matter of law, so hitting a very strong pause button. And now we just need to determine the length of time.
Yeah, so what I'm hearing is, Barry wants us to be cautious that we're not sending any type of signal that we're like shut down for business permanently. You would feel that there needs to be adequate time to properly evaluate everything involved with the data center land use. And I agree with both of you, so.
And just as a point to mention that myself, Brandon, and Eric have been involved in some of the noise mitigation. We're meeting again with them on September 10th. That's been in process now for several months, but we don't expect that to be resolved in the very near future. That's the reason why I wanted to mention too that we're hitting a moratorium rather than a pause, because if we hit a pause, any data center can sneak in here and put an application in, and we, because if it's done in a
Well, right,
commercial
the
area, it's
moratorium-
The moratorium is a pause,
Is
is what
the
I was saying.
pause,
Yes,
yeah.
what I,
The
okay.
moratorium is the pause, but my concern about the time frame is you look at 6 months from now, we could have, it could be you and 2 new people, and they don't have time to catch up.
We could extend it. If we do 6 months, and then we've got some people that aren't up to speed, or they have questions or concerns, or.
So what I would say is I wouldn't go more than a year, 12 months. I would think you start to run into potentially some constitutional issues. But yeah, so it could be what, anything 12 months or less, from a legal perspective, I'm fine with. I just kind of settled on 6 months, but, yeah, and you can always extend it, you can make it less, you can make it more. It's good, that's a policy decision the board needs to.
I'd like 12 months.
I guess I might interject in some of our discussions. Mr. Snowden has indicated that any zoning text amendments take approximately 3 to 4 months. So if we were to do something, that's the minimum period, I think.
That is correct, roughly speaking. And that would be starting tonight, which we're not starting tonight to initiate.
So that's where the 6 months would be.
There possibly could be a challenge if we had a new board, and I felt Eric needed more time, and maybe the new folks wouldn't give me the time. Of course, we could do 6 months now, and then maybe make a determination, I think, before the end of the year, if we need to have it longer, or worse done.
I'm okay with that approach, doing 6 months now and then reevaluating. We can always make a resolution to extend it past the 6 months
Before the end of the year.
But we could also,
Do 12 and get it done earlier, maybe?
yeah, I think that 12 is the safer way to go.
And I feel 12 sends the wrong message. I think we've got rumors of speculation on possibly 8 data centers within the townships.
I'd like that not to happen.
I agree that that's an excessive number, but I've also heard rumors that if we take too long, there are other adjacent villages, for instance, that would be willing to jump in that would threaten annexation of our property potentially even also. That's why.
If they would like, and you know, but you know what they'll do is they will abate the whole thing, and then their residents will be furious with them. And so,
You're certainly starting to see, a little bit of a pushback in central Ohio, which I think has been reported in this
I mean,
area
even
as well.
Dublin, their residents were pushing back.
But yeah, look, it's a policy decision for you three to try to figure out, just don't make it more than 12 and happy.
I'm okay with 6.
And I'm okay with 6, with the stipulation, understanding that we could extend that even further.
How about 9?
You're
Well,
not
Barry,
even
were you
here in
agree-
3 more months
Barry,
anyway, so.
But I
I can't remember if we discussed this before, but were you less, I mean, you wanted less than 6, or?
No, I'm comfortable that it would be a minimum of 5 months before we got anything done, so that 6
Your
makes.
new board is going to have hardly any time to wrap their head around it. 9 would be, I think, the most appropriate thing to do for a board if,
Potentially, we could initiate a zoning change before the end of the year, but it's gonna take 3 more months to get through the process, is what I'm suggesting could happen.
I mean,
It's not
9
gonna take
months
3 to
is
4 months to
spring.
figure it out, it's just 3 to 4 months to
No.
process it. Process it can start with the current board before the end of the year.
So like 9 months would be May, 6 months would be February,
I mean, that's, you might have a,
that's 2 or 3 meetings. Do you hear 8.5 or
I hear
7? I don't know, like,
9.
can you wanna do 7?
I'm gonna move for 6 months at this point, the resolution.
I'm asking for 9 for our residents that are highly concerned. And for a new coming, at least one new board member, for them to have
So
time.
9 would be May.
Yes.
And we could, if we, get the proper discussions and stuff in place, it could be sooner.
Could be. May I go? I'd like to make a motion to pass a resolution to enact a 9-month moratorium on the receipt, processing, issuance, or approval of any application for a zoning certificate for NAICS 518/data processing, hosting, and related services data centers under Article 4, Section 440.01 and 445.01 or Article 5 of the Jerome zoning resolution. Did I say that right?
Yeah.
Yes. Do I have a second?
Second,
Yep.
roll call please.
Mr. Adler? Yes, with the understanding that if we finish this sooner, we can shorten the moratorium period.
Ms. Davis?
Yes.
Mr. Pratt?
Yes. How come I'm last
The
all the
motion
time,
was the
Robert?
motion.
You know, what happened?
Order
Like,
of seniority,
I've been a trustee for 10 years.
recent election.
Breaking service, Joe.
I'm not older than Barry,
Break and
and I don't have any
service.
grandkids.
Break and service.
Robert Winfrey, you're not.
Okay, okay. Ready for announcements, everybody?
Yes, thank you.
All right, reminder, Jerome Townships will see a fire levy on the November ballot. We're asking to renew our current, 5-year, 5.8 mil levy that will expire at the end of 2025. We're asking for an additional 1 mil. Please contact, fire department, administrator or trustee with any questions. Veterans Day program will be Tuesday, November 11th at 11 a.m. at the Township Hall. If you'd like to receive, also I want to mention the firehouse is having a couple open houses. Station 210 in New California, September 24th. We'll be having an open house from 9 a.m. to 10:30 in the morning and 6:30 p.m. to 8 p.m. In the evening to discuss the safety fire levy. October 15th at Station 211, which is up in Jerome Village, 9 to 10:30 in the morning, same times, 6:30 to 8 p.m. October 5th, there's also going to be an open house at both firehouses from 11 to 3 p.m. And October 19th out at Kroger in Jerome Village from 12 to 3 will be Touch a Truck. Drug take back is going to be October 25th, and it's going to be a drive-through to take back drugs that are not being used at Station 211, which is a station up in Jerome Village. If you'd like to receive notifications regarding Board of Trustee meetings, email the Township office at jerometownship@jerometownship.com. The Township is always accepting applications for position on our zoning boards. Please visit the Jerome Township website to fill out an application.